Hi everybody, I want to show you something really interesting. It's a way of checking that the result from multiplying two numbers is correct. So imagine you wanted to multiply 758 by 346. Alright, I can tell you, because I've used my calculator, I can tell you that the answer is something like 262,268. Now, imagine a time when electronic calculators were not available. So this might have been before the 1960s and 70s. Let's speak about how you would have calculated this result manually by hand, and then let's speak about how you would have checked it, because both are very interesting. I'm sure you will know how to do long multiplication, but let's go through it very quickly. We would take 700, in fact I need to move this over, let's write it on this side. We would take 758 and we would multiply it by 346. Alright, so the first thing we've got to do is take 758 and multiply it by 6. Okay, so we'll do that in a different color, maybe blue, on the right hand side over here. I'll take 758 multiplied by 6. Well, 6 times 8 is 48. I'll carry the 4. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 4 is 34, so I'll put the 4 there, I'll carry the 3. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 3 is 45. So I'm going to write that answer over here. Alright. Now the next thing we've got to do, in fact let me space that last one out a little bit. The next thing we've got to do is calculate 758 multiplied by 4. So 758 times 4 is equal to, well, 8 times 4 is 32, so I'll carry the 3. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23, so I'll write it like this, carry the 2. 7 times 4 is 28, plus the carried 2 is 30. Now, I actually wanted to multiply 758 by this digit over here, but of course it represents 40, not 4. But what we've done over here is multiply 758 by 4. So to account for the extra factor of 10, when I write my result over here, I need to shift it over one space. So I'll write it like this. Alright? And then finally, let's take 758 and multiply it by 3. So I'm just going to do it here quickly. 758 multiplied by 3. Well, 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2. 5 times 3 is 15, plus the carried 2 is 17. 7 times 3 is 21, plus the carried 1 is 22. Now again, I've multiplied 758 by 3 over here, but the 3 actually represents 300. So to account for those extra 2, to account for the factor of 100, I need to shift this result over by 2 spaces when I write it above. Alright, so let's take it. 2274. I'll shift it over by 2 spaces. I'll start writing it over here. So it's going to be 2274. Okay, then to get our final result, we just add all the numbers in these columns, right? So in the first column I have only 8. In the second column 4 plus 2 is 6. In the third column 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So I've got to write it as 2 carry the 10. 4 plus 7 is 11, plus the 1 is 12. So I've got to write it as 2 carry the 1, which is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus the carried 1 is 6. And in the last column I have 2. So indeed, we've gotten a result which is consistent with what we calculated at the start from our calculator. Alright, so we've got our answer. Now let's find a way to check it, and imagine we don't have a calculator to do that with. So here's a really interesting method you can use. It's called the Italian short proof method. Take each of the numbers you were dealing with, all right, and consider them one at a time. So let's start with 758. What you have to first do you're going to do it for each of them, is you're going to add the digits of the number together. Okay, so 7 plus 5 is 12, 12 plus 8 is 20. All right, so I've got 20 over there. Divide this result by 9. All right, so obviously 9 goes into 20 two times. 2 times 9 is 18, remainder 2. All right, keep track of this remainder, remember it. Let's do the same thing again for the next number, 346. Well, we're going to add the digits. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. Divide that result by 9. Well, 9 goes into 13 once, remainder 4. Okay, keep track of that remainder, remember it. And now we're going to do it one more time for the answer that we actually got. All right, so this is our big answer, 262268. Same thing, add the digits. So we got 2 plus 6 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 12, 14, 20, 28. All right? No, actually it's 26. Silly me. Apologies. So we've got 26. But again, divide that by 9. Well, the answer is going to be 2 remainder 8, because 2 times 9 is 18, and you still have 8 remaining to get up to 26. So again, remember that. All right, now the last step is, let's draw up a square with 4 squares within it. Put a number in each square. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got our 4 squares. Take your first remainder that you got and put it into square 1. So we're going to put a 2 over there. Take the second remainder that you got and put it into square 2. All right, so we're going to have a 4 over here. Take the third remainder that you got and put it into one of the remaining squares. I'll just put it into square 4. All right, so that's going to be 8. Now, to do the final check, take your first 2 remainders, multiply them together. Okay, I should write this down. So multiply the remainders in boxes 1 and 2. All right, so 2 times 4 is equal to 8. Then the next and final step is to divide what you get by 9. We always divide by 9. Now, in fact, 9 does not go into 8. The answer is 0, remainder 8. Take that last remainder that you get, put it into the last box, and if your calculation was correct, then these 2 numbers should be the same. And that's how you could check very easily whether your calculation is correct.